Boom, we're back. Squeeze the Neck podcast with my old mate, Tom Farag. I said Farag.
Nailed it.
He corrected me. Bosh, thanks for doing this, mate.
Thanks for having me back.
By the way, before you say anything, for those
where did
watching,
he get this sexy shirt from?
Get yourself some merch. Anyway, you've been on before. We'll put the links below for yours. You've got your own podcast, CWAMA, Chat with a Martial Artist. I'm doing all right today. I'm normally mess up. I'm normally mess up the intro. I'm doing all right. We've been podcast together. I've been on yours. You've been on mine. We've never actually trained together, but I have been in your corner for a fight one night last minute. How's things, mate? How's going?
It's good. Same as ever, really, man. I see you're going strength to strength with the pod as well.
We're trying to. Your podcast is older than mine, I believe, right? You outdate me, and we've had a lot of similar guests on. Same guests. We've sort of bounced back and forward.
We've had some crossovers.
Eskimo bros of sorts, if you like. Good coffee. Best coffee I've had on the podcast. So normally you get a podcast, someone off your coffee. Not so good, no names, but we're flying today, mate. But last time I saw you, we were trying to work out when. And I think it was when I actually cornered you, which is over a year ago.
I think it was, yeah. I think we did our podcast swapping between each other's a couple of years ago. I think it was before that.
Was it before?
So it would have been probably December, I think that was. It was in sort of the run up to Christmas time, wasn't it?
I know exactly when I don't know the date, but it was then because I was at a grading. My friend got his black belt that day. It was getting on and I was looking at the thing, I was like, I've got to get out of it. So I missed him get his black belt to get there for the corner. So that would have been December 2024, which is a bit mad. But have you fought since?
Yes, I've fought a couple of times. I've been taking a bit of a break since then. So after that, our excellent work and primarily the corner in meant I got to fight for the title next, which I've got my shiny one up on the shelf.
Really?
My only title.
You won it. I didn't get the call for that one.
No,
I didn't get shit in. You was like, thanks for coming, but semi-final will do you.
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah,
thanks,
that's enough. Thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, terrible advice in the corner.
So that's boxing, and then I've done a little bit like I'm trying to think, what have I done since then? I've had a few boxing matches. I think, did I do an MMA since then? Oh, Christ,
I think you was having a Thai fight at one point, didn't we speak?
Yeah, that fell out sort of last minute, which is annoying. I'd like to do another Thai fight because Thai has not gone well for me so far. I've only had one Thai fight. I've done one Thai, one K1, and I lost them both. Those are my losses, and I'm very upset about that.
Okay.
So I need to get at least one of them back.
Right. And what's your
before
boxing
I give
record?
up. Pretty good. How many have I done? 5 or 6?
Brain trauma setting in. Brain trauma setting in.
The CTE has hit me fast and hard.
And you're a grappler too. You've grappled, right?
Yeah.
You're blue belt in Jiu Jitsu, so you've done a bit of rounds. Like MMA, how many MMA fights you had?
Only 2 like proper ones, and then a couple of interclubs.
Okay.
Since then, so the non-decision stuff.
Non-decision. But
I always like to weigh in and see, like, actually, can I do this? Because I hop around too many styles. I like to dick around, basically, and play with different martial arts.
Well, you said to me before, you're a martial arts nerd, right?
That's it.
Your quote, not mine, before he jumped on me and go,
wow.
you bully!
Wow,
no,
man.
He said it. He said it, not me. I'm in his home and I'm out to disrespecting you. But like we spoke before, martial arts nerd, call it what you want. Listen, I've started jumping around in different...
No, I'm owning it. Yeah, you're getting there.
I didn't say nerd. I did not say nerd. One nerd on this show, it ain't me. In fact, let me just move up a little bit. I'm a bit sighted on. There we go. But we're... I've said to you that I started doing judo recently.
That's what I mean. You're getting there, man.
I started doing Kyokushin karate. When I say that, I've done one session thus far, but we're going to build
You're getting
into
it.
We said we won't say the milestone of age, but there's a certain age milestone I want to get to, and I'd like to be a 3 black belt.
Get a couple of black belts on there.
No, it's 3, not couple, bro. I said 3. Don't get out to disrespecting me. I do the disrespect around here. But it's fun. I like the journey, and again, I've touched on it before with other people, but I like I come from boxing, so there's no belt ranking system and whatever. But where I like the belt ranking system is it kind of tracks the journey, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, for me, going into, especially judo, Kyokushin karate a little bit different, but like with the judo, where I've done Jiu Jitsu for so long, it's like you've got the freedom to learn judo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not in there trying to win all the time. Outside of I am in there trying to win all the time, but you get what I'm saying.
You've done the hard stuff.
You can turn the spaz down a bit, right? And like, I'm here to get technical, because if you grab a hold of a complete beginner in grappling, it's like you can afford to just play their technique versus go to your old tricks. Like, I'm not in a judo class trying to pull fucking De La Riva.
Yeah.
Nor am I in a jiu-jitsu class, by the way. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You get the idea. And like with you jumping around to all different things, have you got goals in terms of belts and stuff like that? Are you not looking at it that way?
No, I've sort of gone back and forth over the years on it because I've always been the nerdy, like, traditional martial art guy. I've fallen in and out of love with it. Like, for a long time, I really wanted... My main art is Wing Chun,
Right.
which they don't do, like, traditional belts, but they have the same ranking system.
Right.
Like, you have grades, they're just not physical belts. And for
tight,
a long time... Yeah, go on, give me something nice. But I went back and forth for a long time. I was, like, really after... Because I'm quite a slow progressor where I pop around at different things. I was really like, I want to get to that grade. By the time I actually got to it, like, my instructor now is like, come on, mate, you need to grade. I'm like, do you know what? I don't need to. Like,
Is it a grading day type thing? Is that how it works?
yeah. You turn up. I mean, it depends. When you get to like the black belt equivalent and above, it's basically 2 sessions. One you do with your instructor, and then one you head off, and there's like a beasting style thing with his instructor.
Okay. What if his instructor's old and gone?
I'm
I'm not
he's
trying to
all
be
right.
funny, genuinely. Like, what if that's
At the
case?
moment, he's all right.
Right. No, but I mean in general. Like, what's the situation there?
Well, the thing is, it's different for different organisations.
Okay.
So that guy runs that organisation. He's like the head of it, and he does it there. But even then, sometimes, like, my friends that have gone down there and done it, they've been like, well, sometimes it's just like loads of physical, like you do a load of press-ups or a load of bag work or loads of whatever. Sometimes it's super technical, like you don't even break a sweat. Sometimes it's all sparring, like... Depends on his mood, is basically the understanding.
Right.
He'll do whatever to test that you've got that basis, like all the theoretical stuff and the skill demonstration stuff your instructor knows from just training with you.
I got you.
And then he sort of takes his word for that, and then he is like, just gives you a hard time. That's basically the memo. And sorry if anyone from that organisation is listening, that's the secret to it.
Tom will bash you up anyway. He told me before. He said anyone from Wing Chun can get it. He said, I'm ready. Don't worry about it. But like Jiu-Jitsu, you got a blue belt too, right? Where did you get your blue belt? We probably spoke about this before.
Kingston Jiu Jitsu.
Okay.
So that's been my sort of main club. Again, I'm very part-time there. My Jiu Jitsu has fallen off for a long time. Like, I'm maybe the longest ranking blue belt they've got there, I reckon, at this point.
Really? How long have you been?
I would have got it, I don't know, like 2021.
Oh, not that bad, not that long. Not
Something
that long.
like that. But I just got my first stripe. And that was like a 3-year gap, I think, almost to the day.
Mate, I
was like, I'm a long way from the purple.
Mate, I never got stripes on any belts until now, brown belt, right? Like, I got 4 stripes recently. It was the first stripes I've got since I think I got a stripe on my white belt. Do you know what I mean? Like where I was never sort of gave out stripes. So stripes are a bit funny because they can get political too, right?
Well, that's what I mean.
We've been at gyms where it's like, you've been in how long? Oh, cool, another stripe. Oh, you got 4 stripes, can't get 5, so I guess I give him a belt. It doesn't happen that often that way, how I'm saying it, but I think you'll be careful because it can happen.
That's going back to what we were saying before, is I go really back and forth on the whole belts thing because exactly for them sort of reasons. It can get super political, you know, who showed up the most, or you volunteered to take the kids class, right? Oh, there's a promotion for you. If you don't do it, it's like, how can you actually progress if you're like a normal, let's say you're a mum or a dad and you're rocking up a couple of times a week and you're all right, but it's like, actually you can't commit to it. But this guy, because he's taken a class, and maybe you can beat the fuck out of him, but he's getting promoted. Or someone does a couple of competitions from a small gym and suddenly you bolted up.
I don't like
maybe rightly, maybe not. Like I go back and forth, particularly with traditional martial arts, on the belt ranking system, because it means a lot to, I think, the person, but that's as far as I think it really goes. But then sometimes I've been on the other side of that where I'm like, I want that grade. I want that black belt. I want this. I want that.
Yeah, I understand. I don't see any problem with that in Jiu-Jitsu up to blue belt, right? You can get a blue belt for being the class.
Blue belt I was itching for.
But like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do that. I don't mind that. Like, you've been around, you teach classes, you
blue belt just means you've turned up.
Blue belt, right? But above that is where I don't like it, you know?
Yeah.
I've told the story a million times about when I had an experience when I was a purple belt and there was loads of purple belts on the mat. One was like, I wouldn't have even given him a blue belt. That I don't like, right? It's like, I don't like that. I don't have a problem the other way around. You know, like people say sandbagging. I don't really have a problem with that. Like, if you're a blue belt and you're smashing higher grades, it's all right. It just raises the level of the sport to me. Do you know what I mean? I don't have so much of a problem. Like, there's a bit of a culture now, people saying like, oh, you know, there's 20-year-old blue belts that can beat black belts now. And it's like, there's not really, is there? Like, how often have you seen
There's
20-year-old?
a 20-year-old blue belt that can be an old broken black belt.
And he's got a lifetime of grappling, right? He's
Yeah.
been like, he might have been a wrestler or judo black belt. Something
Yeah.
like that. I don't agree. There's 20-year-old blue belts out there doing that. You know, I think some people say that to make themselves feel better.
I think what it is,
one, right?
yeah,
you know
that's it. Yeah, there's good guys in every gym,
Yeah.
and the next generation of jiu-jitsu guys coming up, in particular, are fucking way better. Like you get all these 16-year-olds that as soon as they get their blue belt, they're just smashing everyone in the class, and fair play, and like the sport is growing. But I think if there really was like this young blue belt that can smash everyone. Well, there's open weights, there's like competitions.
Also, it's like he's not a blue belt. So
who cares?
Stop it. That's the thing that gets me. I've had that conversation before, and a couple of you find out who they are. They're on the podcast episodes that are higher grades, and they go, "Oh, there's these young blue belts," and you look at them and you go, "Well, they're beating you." Do you know what I mean? I know about that. Let's call it what it is, but that's a rant for another day. But I tell you what I like with the artists that I've sort of been involved with that have got belts. I haven't done any like Aikido or anything like that. Nor will I. But then there's with the judo and the karate, which I hesitate to say started. I've done one class, right?
Yeah.
I've just started my journey.
You're a lifer.
I'm a lifer now. I'm in. But I like you with these ones. You get a feel for it, and you can feel like it's a real thing. Do you know what I mean? Like I won't tell the story again. I've told that too many times too. I went to a Hapkido class years ago. I don't know if I spoke to you
did. We spoke about this on
But
my podcast.
it's also like, look, I felt like I could not just beat everyone in a fight because there's different, like, and that's a silly way to look at things because I'm here to learn this. But I felt like I could beat everyone at Hapkido. Do you know what I mean? I was like, this is a bullshit art. I've been here half hour. I'm better than him. He's been here 10 years. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like that. Them kind of things I've got no interest in. Like, whereas like you go there yesterday and I had the pleasure to spar with some of their black belts, the Kyokushin guys, and you can feel it. Do you know what I mean? You have certain successes because I've done other things, but you can see certain things they're doing. And for anyone who doesn't know, Kyokushin karate, you can kick to the head, but you can't punch to the head.
Yeah.
Bare knuckle
bare knuckle
to the body, and this tricky bit, and it was good. I really enjoyed myself, and hopefully I'm going to keep
very
doing
cool
it.
karate
Do you know what I mean? Kicked a knee yesterday. I'm limping about a bit today, but I enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? It's the sort of thing that was like, it was the perfect level of like effectiveness and no delusion. Like, because the instructor said to me before we was chatting away, and he's saying things to me about like what I've done, asked you all these kind of questions. Probably saw my goofy fucking ears. Do you know what I mean? And whatever. And we're having a chat, and and a lot of times during the class, he was like, I know this is vulnerable, but we do it because of X, Y, Z. And like, first of all, he doesn't need to do that to me, right? Who the fuck am I? I've just showed up to his class, right? And it's like, but it made sense what he was saying. Yeah. And all of it that we did, it was like, this would work. Do you know what I mean? You take it. Of course, there's vulnerability. Listen, there's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys that don't realise how vulnerable they are to ground and pound. Do you know what I'm saying? And like, there was no delusion in this class, which has made me go, give me a gi, I'm in.
Well, that's it. But like, there's so many like traditional martial arts guys that absolutely are deluded as to what the reality looks like. But equally, I think there's a lot on the other side of the combat sports bros. I think the truth is always somewhere in the middle. And you want a coach like this guy that will tell you like, look, I know this is a bit funky, this is what we do it. And sometimes you can just do it because that's what the art says. That's what, my predecessors have done, and this has been passed down from Okinawa or whatever. And this is why we train this way, because we're keeping like a tradition alive. But be aware of them pitfalls, and
I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's the awareness of it. Like there's a video of a certain gym, I don't know if you've seen it, where they're going around to like their black belts, Jiu Jitsu. So it's a legit art. And they're saying, do you think you could have beat Mike Tyson in his prime in a street fight? And they're all going, yeah, I could. And you're looking at me, you're fucking mental, mate. Yeah. Like, what are you on about? Like, you've got to be, that level of delusion to me drives me mad. Do you know what I mean? Also, and it's not a knock, listen, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. Fuck, I teach jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? It's like, but I don't look at jiu-jitsu when you go to a competition. That's not a fight. It's a part of a fight, and a very, maybe, arguably, the most important part in some ways. There's some wiggle room on that, but a grappling match is not a fight, it's a grappling match. Do you see what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And like a boxing fight, I would call that more of a fight. Even though you can make the argument jiu-jitsu is more effective, that's fine. And I'd agree to an extent, right? Like, but it's not as clear-cut as jiu-jitsu beats boxing 10 times out of 10, like they'll have you believe. It's not, because you don't have to block a punch, you don't have to divide, not you, but you know what I mean? A pure jiu-jitsu guy's never done any striking. You're going to get chinned 2, 3, 4 of them times out of 10. Do you know what I mean?
But also as well, it's so individual. Like, who knows? Like, maybe this jiu-jitsu guy will beat the fuck out of this boxer, but that boxer is going to beat the fuck out of that jiu-jitsu guy. It's like, so who's to say this art is better than this art?
Well, my mind goes to as well, what if you're a blue belt in jiu-jitsu and an elite level boxer.
Yeah,
this guy's never struck and he's an elite level black belt. Yeah, it gets strange now, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's not so simple.
Have you seen Tyson Fury recently has been taking up
karate
karate as well?
Yeah.
Mate, I mean, who's going to beat him at karate?
Well, it's funny you said it. It's funny because I was on a podcast recently up in Doncaster. Shout out Doncaster Sambo. I was with, I pronounced his name wrong, Ewan. I said it right this time, mate. Ewan Jack Lister, who's I think he's a 6-time British Sambo champion, combat and what's the other style? Combat and sport Sambo. And we was talking about this and we was having a wind up. I was putting it on because he said something about Khabib. I was like, oh, what, Khabib's no good? And he didn't mean it that way, but I put it on him. So if you watch the episode, he's calling that Khabib and I was calling that Tyson Fury, saying on double leg. And we had this kind of conversation. He was like, you're never getting him. I was like, nah, I'll take him down, don't worry. So he's having this kind of thing. But it's true, like Tyson Fury in himself, just physically is an issue, right?
Yeah.
And that's something I think some pure martial artists don't want to. There's weight divisions for a reason. Yeah. It's not that they can't be overcome, but if everything else is equal, listen, a 120 kilo guy's got a major advantage over a 60 kilo guy.
Well, that's the big thing as well with traditional martial arts. All sell themselves as like, this is the way the little guy beats the big guy, and it's like, yeah, there's something to that if it's like some totally untrained and you are just like, hey, I'm learning this because it's a self-defense thing. If someone kicks off ever, like, I want to know this. But if it's some untrained bum, then yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But if you can only beat untrained bums, and what's the fucking point?
Exactly.
It's like, if you've got someone that is heavier than you, that is an advantage. And skill is one attribute towards it, but so is size, so is strength, so is speed, like all of them sort of things.
And just genuinely, this is going back to the point about the gym that was saying about how these jiu-jitsu guys could beat a prime Mike Tyson fight. There's an element of being a tough guy too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like of being a real tough guy.
You've seen my fights. My fights are, I don't have any technique. I'm just head
animal.
forward.
He's an animal.
Hard
what
head.
What did I say to you in the corner? I looked behind and I went, just go and do it, bro. Just chin him. Do you know what I mean? Do you want another shot of tequila? We get this popping. But there is an element of that too. And I think a lot of, you can go too pure down the martial artist route. Do you know what I mean? There's some people out there that are going to walk through some of your stuff, right? And then you're just like, well, what do we do? Like if me and you get into a fight now and you armbar me and rip my arm off, but I decide I'm not tapping.
Yeah.
And I get out now. All right, I've got a mash up arm, but like I can still, do you know what I mean? I can still be dangerous for 30 seconds or whatever.
If you ever see street fight videos and stuff like that, you do see that happen. Like people's arms break, your shoulders pop out and stuff, but so what? You're not dead. Like you're still going.
It's real, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That's why I like strangles. When you teach like grappling and chokes and stuff like that for self-defense purposes, always chokes.
Put them to sleep,
because who knows, like, if you've got some crackhead that's like trying to take your money or fucking rape you or whatever they're trying to do, like, you're not breaking their arm and they're stopping.
No.
They ain't feeling shit.
But there's two sides to that as well, right? Because it's also like you don't want to grab him.
No, yeah.
He's disgusting.
Very true.
I keep this very vague with what I'm about to say, but I'll tell you off camera, remind me.
Okay.
But there was a situation recently, and I was actually showing up to a podcast, but whatever. It was a certain place, and I'm waiting for the guest, and I'm in public. And someone who was obviously out their mind, that hopped up on whatever, as out of all the people in this public place, decided he wants to fight me, right, for whatever reason, and, but he won't go away. And it's like, I'm trying to whatever. And my brain at the time is going, listen, by the way, this guy's no threat to me. He's out of his mind and he's not a big guy. He's old, whatever. He's no physical threat in terms of if I turned it on, I'm not in danger in that sense. Of course, don't give me, you could have a knife, a gun. That's fine. You know what I'm saying. But my mindset's going, if I whack this guy, huge problem.
Yeah.
Right? Huge problem. If I grab this guy and choke him, not as much of a problem, but it's just, I don't want to touch him. He's so the best thing, I just pushed and pushed him enough to keep a lot of distance and like it's a security guard or whatever. But it was, do you know what I'm saying? It was like, I don't want to touch you, man. You're disgusting, So there isn't an element of that. I mean, it's a bit of a side note, but also, if you're in that situation, that's an element of change too. If you've just been in a dojo all the time and you're great at your techniques, that fear factor of someone stuck it on you, there's a lot of like pure martial artists that have never been there.
Well,
do you know
mate,
what I mean?
that's the big thing with even like the less so, but like jiu-jitsu guys and all these guys that are like, right, this is the superior thing, and I compete on the regular. Actually, it is a different thing. Like the switch that it takes to actually physically do something in a real world thing where you're like, fuck, maybe you're thinking about the consequences, like, am I going to fucking jail? What if this guy hits his head? Am I in danger? Do I have my family with me? Like, all of that sort of self-defense stuff. There's a lot more considerations than most martial artists think. And when you talk about, like, self-defense, you go, 9 times out of 10, if you ask some bloke about it, they'll go, oh, well, if it kicks off in a pub or someone, like, is squaring up to me, or I'm in an alleyway. It's like, that's not what it actually really fucking looks like. Like, if you get to that point where you're in this self-defense oriented like thing in like a pub or an alley or something, you are probably the prick. A street fight is not the same as like a self-defense thing. Like, maybe you've chosen to mouth off against this guy who's harassing you, like this smackhead that comes up to you, yeah? Maybe you're like, yeah, fuck you, and he's fuck you, and this and that, and then it escalates, and that's a street fight. Well, that's not really the same thing as self-defense anymore.
No, exactly. And self-defense, like, if we're going to go to the extreme of self-defense, I could have turned and run.
Well,
right?
exactly.
Defense, do you know what I'm saying?
All the combat sport bros think that's a puss-out answer. And maybe, to a degree, but that's all ego.
Yeah, it is, of course it is.
Who cares? If all you care about is, am I safe? Am I fine? Minimal intervention. Great, good for you. And what if, like, you're a fucking jiu-jitsu brown belt, karate guy, like wrestler? You know, you can handle yourself.
Judo, bro.
Yeah?
I've done at least 5 judo sessions.
Judo expert.
You watch yourself now. Easy now.
So, like, you're okay, but what if you were like some tiny teenage girl to that crackhead? Like, that's a very different prospect.
Well, that was the situation, because he was out of his mind. There was like women. It was a public place in the daytime. Do you know what I'm saying? So he chose me for a reason. Do you know what I'm saying? But he was, when I say out of his mind, That's why I'm like, I use that as an example, because the threat of like the physical one-to-one thing, it wasn't a big deal. So I had the time to be thinking of like, if I do X, huge problem.
I don't want to touch him.
Firstly, where we was, again, we're being very vague, there's like, could have been cameras there. I whack. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't need that problem. But at the same time, take it a different way. He's not such a crackhead, and he's not such a out of his mind, and he's a big, and it's more of a physical threat. You don't have time to think of that. And you've got also, it is self-defense now, right? So you're not going to think, what if I do? You got to take option one, and you get rid of it. Get rid of the problem quick.
That's what I always say. So my other sort of main bag when I am teaching is self-defense. And that's the big thing, is having that trigger. Like, you should teach yourself to have a trigger of like, go. And I use the same thing in my fights as well. Like, you need to have a thing of like, or maybe you're hurt, or you're like being stumbled back, or you're a bit tired or whatever. You need to give yourself like a mental trigger that like, go, like you say a word, you know.
But also, here's the thing too, when using your fight, because like you say, the martial arts nerd, and you don't have like a cauliflower face like some people. Some people might not see it for you. But when I remember being in your corner, one of the things, it was going into the last round, 3-round fight, right? And I remember one of my instructions was, this is very technical, guys, get your notebooks out. Just keep pressuring him. Yeah. Because he was, this guy, I don't know who he was, but he was starting to wilt, and you could feel it. And your pressure was getting to him, which is an element of it too. It's not such a technique. If you go into a gym, a guy's not going to go, pressure him. Yeah. Because it's like, what does that mean?
It's hard to train.
You knew what it meant in that moment, right? And in that moment, that was the correct advice. I will pat myself on the back for that one. But like, jokes aside, it's like, I could have told you to jab and throw the right hand, and when he does this, move to the left, and or better yet, just walk him down, because this guy's fading. Do you know what I mean? And that's an element of it too that doesn't necessarily come up in like the traditional martial arts.
Yeah, it is a big mental game, and that's the hardest thing. Like, when you first start fighting, like competitive fights, you go, well, actually, it's the managing the adrenaline and like, oh, can I stick to my game plan? Can I do this? When you settle into it, like you've done a few, your mind is a lot calmer and clearer, and you're not on edge. Yeah, you're like adrenalized, but you're not like absolutely cacking it and all over the place. You're then thinking.
Yeah, well, I've found it's more you get comfortable with knowing you're going to be nervous anyway. I never got any less nervous for any of my fights, but it was you're going to feel that ahead of time. It's not such a panic station. It's like, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? My mindset was always get to the ring walk time, because being in the change room was
that's the worst.
The worst bit, right? Once you start walking, you're still nervous and stuff, but it's like, I'm moving now and it's happening, and it's
there's no going back, right?
Do you know what I mean? You're in that change room, and it's like when I was on amateur boxing shows. I don't know if you've ever done amateur boxing, where it's like, you've got a long time sometimes. Like, you go in there, you weigh in, you don't know when you are, and someone put the list on the wall. So like, I remember going in there once, and it was bout 2. I say, Andy, I'm straight out. But then at the same time, it's like, it's now. Do you know what I mean? Whereas then other times I've been on shows, and I remember being at the Haringey Box Club. I don't know if you know this one. It's a big international tournament, and there's like, it's at Alexandra Palace. And it's massive. I don't know how many competitors. Maybe someone can help me out with how many. But like, ridiculous. I was basically there. I was like, I don't know what I was, but I was all day. Like, wading in the morning. I didn't box till late afternoon. Yeah. Firstly, you're exhausted from it. You've gone so up and down in the meantime. That's rough as well, you know. Like that, but it is what it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. When they post up like lists, fight lists and orders and stuff, because most places now they keep it fairly like. unless you're like a main event or whatever, it's fairly close to the chest so that they still have people turn up.
Yeah. Well, when I was in your corner, we thought we had a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
And we hadn't even hit the pads yet. I just got the pads out.
Yeah, we ended up
right,
being,
you got like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we would fight 2 or 3 or something.
It was like, right, you're up in 2 minutes or something. And it was like, well, that's a bit snidey,
yeah,
isn't it?
like, fucking hell, right, I better get ready.
One and I was a coach, so make your own mind
That's
up.
it.
We figured it out. But there's an interest to that as well, because there's an element of you can over warm up as well, can't you? You know, you can exhaust yourself. And I don't mean physically, I mean the mental side.
Yeah.
Listen, if you get into a fight, you're fit. So you're not going to over warm up necessarily physically, but you can be in that kind of it's nearly time mode for too long, can't you?
It's the adrenaline, it's a physiological thing. It's not just like, oh, I'm a bit tired just because I've been, hitting pads for too long. It's like genuinely, it's the adrenaline, and then it's coming up and it's going down and da-da-da.
You can get sleepy in the back too, can't you? I've had that on many occasions.
But that's the adrenaline dropping.
Yeah.
Like,
of course, you're like actually tired,
like physiologically, your body is like, oh, we've got stress hormones that have been going.
And I
through
didn't
my
like
body
to warm
all
up
day.
too much too. I don't know how you felt about it, but like when it's like hit the pads, blah, 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 2 more rounds, like whoa, leave me alone. Like, I'm warm, that'll do me. Let me pace about and get my own head. You know,
that's it. A little bit of moving. Mobility is the big thing because I'm like, I do not want my arm falling out or whatever.
How old are you now?
I'm 28.
Yeah, you're still young, right? If your arm's falling
Nah,
off now, there's bigger issues going on here. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. The same show that you cornered me on, I cornered my brother a few goes before that, and in the first round, pretty much immediately, his shoulder popped out.
How old was he?
He's younger than me. He would have been, I don't know, 22 or something.
Tell him
23.
I said he's a pussy, and if he wants to if he wants someone else on that card, I'm available. No, but of course it happens, doesn't it? It does happen.
And then it was disaster. But props to him, and maybe he's listening, maybe he's not. He went full 3 rounds. He kept going. It came out within like 20 seconds.
Did he win?
No.
Come on!
He was walking around with this. It's just boom, boom.
Well, do you remember the guy on the card? I don't know who he was. Do you remember the guy with the pink shorts? Floyd Mayweather's understudy.
Oh,
yeah. He came in the changing room. We might have spoken about it. I don't know if we spoke about it. But he came in the changing room, didn't he? And it was like, what it's like on shows. Like, everyone's in there together, aren't they? Like, from one side, one corner, and the other. He came in and was like, oh, where's my changing room? And he was kind of like, well, where do I get chat? And it was like, mate, you're like the second fight on a white collar show.
Yeah,
Chill out.
I'm going to say it. We're not fighting on like huge shows.
This ain't the MGM Grand.
Yeah.
Just warm up. Start shadowboxing. He had like pink like swimming shorts for did he? And he was like, I don't know if he won or lost, but he chill out, huh? Let's chill out. You don't get your own change. What do you think? Everyone gets their own change room.
But do you know what? That's it. People take it really seriously, and this is my opinion that upsets most combat sports pros. It isn't a big deal. No. Like when you think actually, how many people do step into the ring? Like, yeah, it's a tough thing to do, and it's respectable, but in the grand scheme of things, like if you've had a couple of like. I've had about 10 fights, I think, plus some interclubs and stuff like that. But it's like, I'm not some elite fucking fighter, am I? Like, the guys that are actually proper pros are up there. But that's a decent number of fights. Most people will have maybe 1 or 2 as an amateur. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm a hobbyist and, that's fine. And they will ride the coattails of that forever. Yeah. But it is not that big a deal when you think how many fights, there's at least an event every weekend to like a low-level thing. How many people you say you've got 15 matches on an average card? 2 people from each thing, that's 30 every single weekend. Like, you're not that special doing it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Until you do it at a high level against like the top guys, it isn't that big a drama.
It's funny you say that, because it's a scary thing, right? But
terrifying.
Like you say,
I shit it.
Of course, I think everyone does if they're honest, right? But it's like it's one of them things where, in the grand scheme of your life, it does not matter, does it? Like I remember once I was in Woking boxing, and it was their big to do, and they had Leon Spinks, who, bless him at the time, was obviously suffering from being punched too much, right? Leon Spinks, for anyone who doesn't know, was beat Muhammad Ali, blah, blah, blah. Olympic gold medalist, all that kind of stuff. But at this point in his life, he was clearly showing the effects of whatever. But anyway, it was their big show, right? And I came out, I threw a punch, knocked the guy down straight away, and wasn't experienced enough at the time to finish off, and just basically 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, hook to the body, 1-2, hook to the body.
that'll do it.
All the way through the thing, there was no whatever, and it was like, winner by split decision, they gave it to him, right?
Yeah.
One of them deals, right? And at my point, I was, but at the grand scheme of things,
who cares?
Deal, is it?
Who
now
cares?
sitting here with you.
That's it. Like you asked about my boxing record earlier. I'm like, I don't know how many fights I've had. 5 or 6 thereabouts. I'm like, I can't
I know I had 12 boxing matches because I haven't been punched up as much as but you've done other stuff. You've done different. It is one of them things, isn't it, where it does not matter that much, but at the time it does. Right, that night.
That's it.
Does.
It's your whole life.
Yeah.
Like there, you're like, oh my god, everything is building up to this. Like, and if you've had a loss, I don't know how yours went. I've had a couple of losses.
One of them my first round knockout, bro.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, me too. Actually, thinking about it, I don't know what I was talking about, but like you lose and you're like, fuck, all that hard work and and it depends. Some people are better at dealing with loss than others. I think it depends on your mindset. Like, I know I'm much more bothered about my MMA fights than I am about boxing and stuff.
I think it's why you're doing it too. Like, for example, if you're a professional MMA fighter and you're taking some boxing matches on the side, they're essentially like training, aren't they? You know what I mean? So it doesn't, you can't speak for everyone, everyone's got their own mindset on it, but it shouldn't really mean that much, right? Because you're doing it for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've been in gyms with people, MMA fighters, good MMA fighters, you'd know some of them, and they're doing boxing sparring.
Yeah.
And they're getting bashed up a little bit by a boxer, but listen,
I'm playing your game.
Shit is the fan, right? Yeah. They can do what they want to them. So I think there's an element of that parking that ego that goes along with it. Like, going back to your thing about it's not that big a deal. GSP spoke about this too. I don't know if you ever heard him. He said like he'd be so nervous about his fights and stuff, and he was, if I'm butchering his story, George, reach out, mate. we'll fix it. I'll have you on.
Yeah.
But it's one of them ones where he was saying like he was driving along looking at like an old lady. She don't care. He was looking at a family with kids. They don't care. And he was like, it don't matter.
It much in your head.
It does not mean anything. It matters to me, but it doesn't matter. And there's a lot to be taken from that.
And that's GSP. We're talking about some like little Ami show in the back end of London somewhere. Like, who knows?
And it is what it is, right? Because they're stories you can tell later, right?
Yeah.
They never go away, do they? Them good nights, like when I was in your corner. You've won that, right? It's fun. It's But again, that in the grand scheme of things, it's more sad if we were sat here, right, in 20 years' time, and you went that night, and I had done this. And, do you remember when I dropped him, and you're like, mate, it was weird.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've got a friend who done a white collar, one and only white collar, and like you hear his stories after to his other silly mates, and when you go,
that's not worth it.
I was there.
That doesn't sound right to me.
And the guy was all bashed up, and you're going. Kind of. Yeah. Let's not be silly, right? And I was doing this, like, okay. I sparred with him in prep, you know what I mean? You go, let's call it what it is, right? Like,
it was all right.
Let's just hope this geezer can't fight. You know what I mean? You might get through this one, but everyone tells their own story in their mind, don't they? And if you listen to, I don't know if you watched the fights last night. As we're sat here now, UFC 325. Do you know the results?
I know the main event.
Okay, cool. So we'll only talk about that one then, right? Like Volk was. I didn't watch it, to be fair. I watched highlights, so they can tell their own story. But he seems like he's hit a stage now where he's just like happy, satisfied, now can be free and do his thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's in his late 30s, I believe, right? He's 37, 38. So it's like he's achieved it all. And like that can be dangerous, can't it? In terms of you kind of, I've done it, I'm satisfied, now you start getting bashed up. But he just seems like the other side of that where it's like, I'm happy with what I've done. Now I can just go and have fun in there.
Just flow in. Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see how he goes on because you can't go on forever, obviously. But he still seems like he's peaked to me. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I thought I saw, did one of the judges score it 50-25?
50-45.
Yeah.
Not 25.
25. Yeah, wow.
Casual alert.
Smashed him.
Yeah, but is it, did you watch, let's go back a week. Did you watch the Gaethje Paddy?
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about that one.
I think it was all right. I think I'm not surprised, as much as, I like to be supportive. Like, I didn't think Paddy was an especially shining prospect. Like, good for UK MMA. And do you know what? If he wants to come on my podcast or Ollie's podcast, I'll change my mind. I think you're the best, bro.
The best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
And if he wants to spar, Tom's available.
But I thought it was sort of what I expected, to be honest. It was good fun. Like, it was a fun fight. And most of Paddy's can be quite fun because I think there's a sweet spot where you're good, but you're not like amazing, and you still get hit and you scramble and this happens and that they make really fun fights.
I just think there's certain people he can't beat, like the tip of the spear, like elite. I think that he can't. You could be wrong because you can always improve, right? But
I think the longest time he'll be one of the sort of top gatekeeper-y type
Well,
guys.
I tell you what I thought I saw in the Gaethje fight, and you tell me, but I felt like he was at that level. I just felt like he couldn't hurt Gaethje, and Gaethje could hurt him. And sometimes it is that simple, isn't it? You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not that simple. There's a lot more going on, but at the end of the day, from my knowledge, that looked like he couldn't phase Gaethje with what was coming. Gaethje
Yeah.
was kept going through it, and every time, not every time, but like, you know, a lot of the time when Gaethje was bombing on him, it was having a real effect. He was still there, he didn't get knocked out or anything, but do you know what I mean? It was,
but he got dropped
it was
a good
making
few
a big deal
times,
on a big impression on the fight, and sometimes you can go away and fix things, can't you? But also, I do think Gaethje's in that sweet spot too with Volk, but he's not
Gaethje's
satisfied because he hasn't achieved what he wanted to achieve. But he's like looking at it, I can't speak for him, right? Yeah. But it's like, it seems like from the outside, he's got one more run in him and he's going to like squeeze it and get every ounce out of himself.
Yeah, why not? Like, if you've got performances like that, like, he's a good fun fighter. That's the thing. It depends, like with the championship thing. I again, like belts, I go back and forth with that. Like, how much does it really mean? Like,
a lot.
Well,
a lot.
Yeah, but like where you've got the interim one now, like he's an interim champ, and you've got Ilya, but it's like, what's Ilya doing? Is he going up? Is he retiring? Is he fighting again? Like, I think the top guys with MMA will always beat each other. Mm-hmm. Like there's never like a set. This guy is miles ahead, or if they are, that's when you start talking about like the goats.
There's a few. There's John Jones. Is like, I felt like that about Khabib. You know,
Khabib.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like there's certain people,
but
where
they're
you
big
go,
exceptions, right?
They are. GSP in as well to an extent. You know. What I mean?
But even then, he got beat a couple of times.
He did,
by
but he
the
corrected
guys.
it after. Do you know what I mean? Like me watching his career, like as it was happening, was after that. It was after he'd kind of thing. The first fight I think I watched live of GSP would have been Jake Shields. Around that sort of time. I think that was the first time I sort of watched it properly. Or maybe after that even. What was the next one? Because he had the ACL tear after that. I think it was Condit. I think it might have been Condit was the first one I actually watched as it was happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I only saw him win like live. And there was like him, John Jones, Anderson Silva before Chris Weidman as well. There was like a feeling that, well, they're not going to lose. It's how difficult it is to win.
But that's such a narrative thing as well.
Yeah,
like that,
and it's not true. It's just like, that's how you feel. Do you know what I mean?
I think if you if you don't follow any of the marketing and the media in the run up to it, and you don't listen to any commentary, and you just watch the fights, any of the top like 3 guys will beat each other. And if you just had like, forget all these other up and comers, if you just had like the top 3 guys from each division fighting each other, you'd have a different fight every time.
Well, the example of that recently was Merab, right? He lost to Peter Young. I thought like Merab was.
I thought Merab was going to run through
I do still
him.
think he's the best bantamweight of all time. I do, but for what he was, but he lost, right? And I go like, I didn't see that coming. Do you know what I mean?
No, I didn't see that coming either.
I'm
I'm delighted.
Cool.
I thought Peter Yan, when he was champ before, was going to have a fucking sensational
I think
run.
he got jobbed against Aljamain as well. Do you know what I mean? I don't like the way that went down. I don't like the way that went. It should have been a no contest at best, but that's a rant for another day. And people can say, "Oh, he got battered in the rematch." I think there's a narrative around that too. When I watched that, I thought,
no,
I don't think it was close. I think it was close. I don't think it was a bit like.
Yeah, I think it was fair enough. Aljo won it in the rematch. But it wasn't like some dominant thing.
But people
and then
talk about it now like it was.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's, I've heard on his podcast speak about like, you know, boom, boom, boom. And then I go, watch the fight. I don't, you know.
That's what I mean. Again, it's all the hype, because whoever's the man at the time, it's like, can anyone beat him? And
there's
that's
a lot of
their
moving
job.
parts with that one too, Merab, because he fought it was like the 4 defences in a year situation, wasn't there? Like, that's got to catch up with you at a certain point. You know what I mean? Because think about it, if you go extreme and you say, if he had 10 defences, that's going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
Where's the sweet spot? Was 4 the number where he was on the slide a little? Do you know what I mean? He needed a rest.
But did he look like he was on the slide?
But that's what I'm saying. You don't know, right? It's one of them. It's like, it could be. But at the same time, everyone, like, when I was in my extensive Kyokushin karate career of one class, you know, I said to you when I come in here, I've got a sore shin today because I kicked a knee during one of the, whatever. And like, all things like that happen.
You don't know,
In an MMA fight, like, you could have a sore hip for whatever reason. It don't show, but it counts, doesn't it? Certain positions you can't go into, on and on. And on any given night, like you said, when it's close at the top, it's like,
that's it.
One way it can go, right? The little tipping points that change things. Khabib spoke, slightly different subject, but like, Khabib was undefeated. But he was like, he said on interviews, right, if he goes on long enough, he's going to lose. At a certain point, you are going to lose, right?
That's the thing with MMA. Like, it's not the same, like, padded records and stuff, is it? It's like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that guy beat him, but you smashed that guy who beat that guy. Like, it's the MMA maths.
I think Styles comes into it more as well.
Huge,
because, you know, if you can outbox someone and it's a tough fight, sometimes you can get on your bike and find a way to technically outwit them or outfox them, whatever you want to call it. Whereas, of course, you can get caught, but in MMA, there's a lot of moving parts, right?
Well, that's it. There's so many ways to win.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
Yeah.
And you could change entirely from one fight to another. Without really any way to prepare for that.
Yeah. And there's big things with the weight too. Going back to the Gaethje Paddy fight, I don't know if there's anything to do with it at all, but like Gaethje, from watching from the outside, and again, I don't know anything, but it's like he looks like he's not someone who kills himself to make the weight.
Yeah.
Whereas Paddy, we've all seen
famously.
we've seen him go up
Yeah.
in weight, but he's also, I think, like I've never been around him. From people I've known that have been around him and say how big he is for the weight. Like
He is big.
all
isn't he?
these
Yeah.
things play in as well, don't they? You know what I mean? Like how long can you keep cutting the weight down on your body? Like have you ever lost too much weight for a bout?
Not really. Like the thing is, I'm lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be asked with big weight cuts. Really, I should cut and be fighting at bantamweight.
But you
for
say
MMA.
that, what should? Why? Do you know what I'm saying? Should
Where
what?
I walk around when
Right.
I'm in shape,
Yeah.
which is not now. But like I should be. Like my last boxing bout was at 66 kilos, and I didn't really have to cut any weight for that.
That's just what
don't,
you are.
Yeah, have a piss in the morning and don't drink anything.
But there's an element to that too. Like there's ranges of that too. Do you know what I mean? Of like what? Like I've spoke to people before. Like I've trained with about things and whatever, and they go like, what weight? And like some of the things, one way in terms of low is outrageous for me.
Yeah.
I'm like I could make that. But
Yeah.
I'd be dead. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't fight like that. But they're like, oh, that's the weight you should. And then other guys go, I'll just fight at X weight, and it's like. Don't really even. I'm basically weighing that anyway. Do you know what I mean? And it's a bit like.
That's it. Sometimes you sit in weird
I think
spots.
the point of that is, I think like you got to be where you feel comfortable to an extent.
Yeah.
Now that's not talking about being a know-all and like I'm going to fight this way because I say so. Of course, you take advice and stuff, but at the same time, you know your body to an extent, right?
Yeah.
You know how you're going to feel, like, and like your strengths play into it. If you're a naturally longer, like me and you are similar in height, right? And like there's 10, 15 kilos between us in weight. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like one of them where it's like. We're not going to fight the same, just on body type, for one. Like, if you're going to be a longer arm guy versus a shorter, stronger guy, etc., all through the weight divisions, up, down, blah, blah, blah. Some heavyweights are shorter than us. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't, it's not a one size fits all. And I think there's an element of, where am I going to feel good here? Do you know what I mean? When I get in there, I don't want to feel... Because the reason I asked you about have you ever cut too much weight, I have back in the day. Like, not knowing what you're doing, just starving yourself around with your boxing. You weigh in, a few hours later you're fighting. If you're lucky, sometimes less than that, blah, blah, blah. But I've got in there and it was just like... Firstly, I don't even care about this bout anymore because I'm too like flat and I'm like, I can see... What I noticed as well, that particular night I'm talking about, I won on a split decision, right? On a club show, it didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But it was like... firstly, I had no interest. Secondly, it was like I can see things coming, and I can't. I have. It's not I can't do anything about it. I haven't got the. I'd rather take the punch to the face than use the energy to do anything.
Slipping.
And it's just like, why would you want to fight like that? Now I know that of course you can do it better. You can do the weight better. You can get more knowledge. Blah 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 blah. But the bigger point I'm making is I'd rather just fought a bigger guy and felt good. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that does come into it because I've fought sort of a bit all over the place in terms of weights. And I've had opponents of different sizes, like where I've done white collar things where they sort of just match you up and it's a bit random. Like in Thailand, I fought some geezer, so I would have been about 69, 70 kilos tops at the time, and I fought some geezer that was 87 kilos, and that's where I learned about weight differences. I was like,
that's extreme. That's big.
I was just picking off it, and it was it's Thailand a bit wild with their matchups, but. That's where I learned about weight, where I'm like, I'm hitting him with everything I can and he doesn't move. And then he like jabs me and I'm sprawling across the ring. So I'm like, okay, that's too far. Yeah. But then I fought equally, I would have been, again, 69, 70 kilos. I had an MMA fight. The guy I fought was 76. I felt okay.
And that's a big difference, isn't it?
It was, yeah. I was okay. I think it was a decent matchup in terms of the skill versus the strength.
Yeah, right.
But... it was just fine.
And it plays it like skill comes into it, right? Because look, it's not like we touched on it earlier. A 60-kilo man in the right circumstances could beat a 100-kilo man.
Yeah.
Right? But at a certain point, the skills outweigh the weight. But at the same time, it's way more the other way. I've explained that terribly, but I think you get what
I know what you mean.
Right?
But that's the thing with competition arts versus like traditional martial arts. Is you've got people that you are leveling all playing fields. Like, I know I'm meeting you at this time, at this date, we're going to weigh this. And we're going to see who's got high skill. If you've leveled everything and skill is the only thing left, maybe strength or whatever, but that's the only thing that's left. That is determining who wins. Yeah. Whereas if you say, right, we're just going to we're going to bump into each other in a car park and we're going to have a scrap.
Now. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, well, fuck, I'm 60 kilos and this guy's 75 kilos. But he's never done anything in his life. He's got a big guy. I'm a Jiu Jitsu guy, but I don't know how to strike or whatever it is. Yeah. Then those factors become much more important.
And it comes into winning versus like self-defense.
Yeah.
Right? There's a difference between me getting picked on by a guy who's twice my size and getting home safe.
Yeah.
and winning. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's a different thing between competition and real life as well. Do you know what I mean? Because competition, it's not about getting through it and, I survived. You lost. But, do you know what I mean? It defeats the object, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
You're not going to die.
No. I got through it. I lost on points widely. Okay, cool. Why'd you come? Do you know what I mean? Versus that might serve you better at a bus stop at 3 a.m. As an example. But it is what it is in a certain extent. But the weight categories, all things being even, like you're saying, it counts, right?
That's it, yeah.
But the weight does make a difference. There's, obviously I'm going around in circles, but weight division for a reason. Oh. But at the same time, it's not always just about the bigger, stronger, because I'm sure you've done it. You spar with someone who's one weight division lower than you. What's the biggest headache? It's their fucking speed. Yeah. It ain't easy suddenly, is it? Because they're close enough in size where it's not just you're not going against someone who's 20 kilos lighter than you. Yeah. Which in itself is not the end of the world either, because, let's say 50 kilos lighter than you to make it more extreme, right? If I was fighting a 7-year-old boy.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm fighting an infant.
I'm fighting a 7-year-old at this point. But you get the point, right? It's like, it's not that clear cut because and especially when you're cutting weight, you're a bit, that speed's coming. It's like, man. I'll give you an example, and this is not to sort of talk about like me, but I had a boxing match years ago. I was about 19, and I was overtraining, tired, sparred with a guy from a sort of a club that we knew, and they come down sparring sometimes. And this man, obviously similar weight to me, boxed my head off for the sparring. And when you're going, all right, cool. About 6 weeks, 5 weeks later, we get matched up to box. Now I know I can beat him. I know how I felt that night. Yeah. But he knows he can beat me because he did it already. Do you see what I'm saying? Now we boxed and I beat him easy, like clearly. And he said to me after, you felt really strong tonight, blah blah blah. And it was like, yeah, thanks, man. But cool. I don't say it right because you sound like a fool, but it was just because my energy was back. Do you know what I mean? Now, his energy might have been gone that night and he might have been full of energy the first time. I don't know this. I'm just talking about on that night when I felt better.
How you feel,
things are faster, things are sharper. Whereas in the gym that night, the point of me saying it is like I was in front of him and I was back in that mode of like, it's easier to take his jabs and like get pinged about than move because I'm too tired and I'm fried here. Do you know what I mean? The other way of that too, if you've been in amateur boxing clubs and stuff, when clubs come in for sparring, where I was anyway, typically they come in there, they warm up and they spar. We've already trained and we're on the bags and it's just part of our session. And when the sparring comes, but listen, it all works out because I'd have rather lost to have been the sparring session. You don't lose, but you know what I'm saying? I'd rather got pinged about in the sparring session and beat him in the match, right? It is what it is. But there's elements of people overcooking it. And I certainly did that at certain times. Where you just train hard as you can all the time. Whereas if you listen to top guys, they train for fight night.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And that's what I was going to say is you think about how many people, when you've got a scheduled bout in whatever discipline that you're doing it in, you know exactly where you've got to be and when you've got to be ready. And everything is dialed in around that, right? You're thinking about your...
It should be, but it ain't.
Should be. But like your nutrition, your training, your rest, like the proper guys that are doing it properly, that's when you feel your best. And when I've bothered with any of that, I go in and I feel, fucking great. Mm-hmm. But then equally I've been on the same thing of like, just turn up and have a go.
But I do think a lot of people, and I think it's probably the majority, just train too hard. Like it's fight night coming, we just train as hard as you possibly can.
I hate that.
But from the outside it's easy to see. Sitting here now, you can go, well, train there, stop, go. I spoke about this with Jeff Chan the other day. Check out the podcast, check out the episode because he will explain it. I don't want to talk for him, but I'm going to. So
we'll give it a go.
Saying, like,
strap in.
And it's obvious when you hear it. He'd train for fights outside of camp.
Yeah.
He'd train a lot more because it's skill accumulation and you're training and you can afford to be tired, blah, 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 blah. When it's fight time, like in the lead up to a fight, he'd train once a day, 90 minutes, in, out, intense, gone. And like it's common sense, isn't it? Like GSP again spoke about, I've heard him say, like his sparring sessions were 5-5s. That's it, because he's fighting 5-5s. Hard. Do you know what I mean? There's no reason to be training 10-5s because it's a different pace. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like but majority of people that I've known over the whole time I've done any kind of combat, people just train as hard as they can, as much as they can, and then turn up on fight night and see.
I think that's a big problem with, again, the like combat sports world, and it's something that I hate, to be honest. I'm much of the opinion, and again, maybe because I am a bit of a dork, but I like to do a bit of everything, not a bit of everything every day, but a bit of something every day. And the thing is, if you do everything at 100% all the time, you're going to be burnt out immediately.
And you don't learn to.
Yeah.
You don't
like, I very, very rarely go more than about like 40% at anything in any of my training. But it means that I can train every day. Like before this, like I have someone come over, I do some rounds in the garage. This morning I got up and I did a bit of heavy bag and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need to break my back and be sore and like have the DOMs and like I've got this injury, or I've tweaked this, or I've tweaked that, because it means that after this, I can train this evening, I can train tomorrow, I can train tomorrow evening, I can train the next day, because I like to learn and I like to mix up different stuff. So light and regular is absolute gem for me.
And constant. I look at it as well in some ways of like going to a 9 to 5. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just work, go to work. Like the builder don't go and hammer the nails and run to the next one and sweating by 10 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's not the best example, but it makes sense in terms of like, just keep doing it. It's a long game, innit? Do you know what I mean? I want to be able to train. We all do when we're 60, 70.
But that's actually a very traditional martial arts approach. And in fact, you'll now as a karate guy, I'm sure you'll speak to it. But
extensive karate guy.
Yeah. They talk about it, the Japanese in karate in particular, it's like a lifelong thing. So it's not supposed to be you get your black belt and bosh, which obviously you will.
Obviously.
But it's supposed to be like, it's this slow accumulation. You do a little bit every day. And a lot of traditional martial arts, you know, all the forms and stuff that they do, it's all about that. It's about reps, constant movement, constant improvement. That's why, like, for my Wing Chun, I do my forms every day because it takes like 10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And really, I'm getting the reps of what I'm doing in. I don't break a sweat, like it's nothing. It just gets me moving and feeling good.
I tell you what I find a lot when I train with a lot of people, especially with this podcast, give me a lot of opportunity to train with a lot of like good people, and it's most of them I try and do it as like a learning experience, right? It's not like for example, if I travel up north to a gym where someone's been in the UFC and stuff, I want to learn. I don't want to go there because I've had offers of like, oh, come up, you know, I'll make sure the boys around me can spar. And I'm like, oh, brilliant. And then I'm thinking to myself, I can do that at home. I don't need that. I'm kind of defeating the object. So I kind of, most of the time I'll say like, I'll do that, but not every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll do that one day and like, so whatever, we can put it into practice, blah, blah, blah. But reality is, I want to train with you. I want you to show me.
Yeah.
And like, we'll feel it and we'll turn it up. I work as hard as you want me to, but I'm not here to work hard. I don't need to sweat. I'm here I'm here to
give me the knowledge.
Give me something that I can take and use forever. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like since I've been doing that, like the results do become better. And I try it as well with seminars. I love a seminar now.
Yeah, same.
I like to go there and sort of like, you know what a seminar's like. It's not chaos is the wrong word, but there's so much that you could take in.
Yeah.
I almost feel like I can't. I've learned nothing.
Yeah.
Whereas again, I was saying this with Jeff. I took one thing from his seminar. I took more than one thing, but like there was one thing particularly that when I was doing it during the seminar, it seemed to be like working for me, natural, didn't have to overly stress about it, and just like when he was seeing it, just tidy it up. Do you know what I mean? And do that better, move the shoulder this way, whatever, right? But it was like, I can take that with me now.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about the other stuff.
valuable.
Do you know what I mean? Like I can kind of like see all the other stuff
Yeah.
and take nothing, or I can just take that. Do you know what I mean? I think that's
the other
way.
thing as well is sometimes I've done that where I'm sort of the same, but you have a seminar and I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, I think I get that or whatever, but not that interested. And then years later, I've done something else and I'm like, oh shit, there's that thing that I learned 4 years ago at this seminar. This guy showed. I'm like, oh, that's where that works. Yeah. And then you come back to it. So it is a funny thing. That's why I love doing the pod as well, is the opportunity like that to go and train with so many people. And even just the ability to sit down for, you know, hour and a half, whatever it is, and talk to some of these like top guys. Like you've spoken to some incredible people on your pod. Picking their brains and just getting stuff just gets you like thinking about something.
And
right?
you see, I find a lot of commonalities with people. Like a lot of the things, they don't necessarily say it the same, but you can see the way they're articulating it. They all feel the same and they've got the same sort of mentality around whatever we're talking about. There's a certain way they learn, there's a certain way they sort of implement things. And I do believe as well, like a lot of people that have fought and stuff, they've got the tendency to train hard, right? We've got that.
Yeah.
Switch it on, right? Head down, go. But a lot of it, in terms of when you find, and just from experience too, I'm sure you have, sometimes taking what I feel like is the lazy man approach. It's not to Joe average necessarily, but it's like, it's not about working hard, it's about learning. And sometimes, of course, listen, you have to work hard. Yeah. But that's not the goal. Do you see where I'm coming from? The goal is not to work hard. I work as hard as I need to for that, to get it. That, But in reality, if you shadowbox, right, as in a basic example, I don't need to shadowbox sprint. Take the time on, rest 1 minute. Defeats the object, right? There's a time and a place for that too. But at the same time, it's like if I'm working on my jab, the most basic of punches, I don't need a timer. I don't need to count 1, 2, 754, 755. It's irrelevant. Like John Danaher sort of touched on that. Think about what you're doing versus the numbers. You know,
the intent is so much more important. And again, that's a very traditional martial arts thing. It's like you should be super focused on all these movements and what you do. And I think you're absolutely right. Like if you are a competitor and you're fighting in something, then you've got to spend time doing that hard grind thing. And that's why I can't be arsed with it.
But it's also, I think, that's like seasonal. Like, you can't live like that. I've tried before, and you just like, you see people that are like in the gym training way less, they don't take it nowhere near as seriously, and they're improving at a faster rate than you, you know? And it's like, at a certain point, for me, it took a long time, but the penny's got to drop. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm here to get better, not here to train hard. And I found, like, when you get to certain points, you have to really, I know it sounds douchey, doesn't it? But like, you got to park the ego, because it's I don't need to beat him every second of every round just because I'm at a higher level than him. Like, give me back, like, figure this out, like, play from here. And like, when you listen to higher level guys, they all seem to, again, they don't say it as clearly as that, but you kind of get the impression that that's where they're coming from. And again, with the podcast, I've had the opportunity to work with some mad level people.
Yeah,
and like,
so cool.
The thing of when you take away from them, a lot of what they're doing is very simple. They're just experts at something very... John Danaher posted a video the other day. Did you see it? Where he's talking about, like, Jiu Jitsu is... If I butcher this, please help me out. But it was something along the lines of, like, Jiu Jitsu is the art of getting really, really good at a few things and knowledge of a lot. You know what I mean? It's like, so you can defend everything. You're aware enough to defend and keep yourself safe, but you only implement... And I just thought it's... blindingly obvious.
And you think about all the guys that you train with that you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy's great. They're normally great at like one or two things, right? Like everyone's got the gym like leg locker. It's such a good example.
And
it's
they're good
like,
at defense. They're good at not getting tapped getting there.
Yeah, they always find a way to get there, and once they're on it, they're on it.
Like, well, I've found that too. Like when I've trained a lot, like I love an arm triangle, So like if I go with someone who's, let's say, beginner level or blue belt or whatever like that, and you just pick on that all the time. All I'm going to do, I'm not going to worry about anything else. I'm going to go for that side and that arm triangle. And what I find a lot of the time is other submissions come up on the route and you take them. Because you're putting so much pressure to that they have to defend, and they'll do like a arm bars on then. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no way you get me.
Well, I had a conversation with someone I train in one of my classes, and we do some privates and that, and we was talking about how it's like, certain people I'll find I'll get a submission that I don't practice. Like, I'm talking basic like that I know, but like I'm not drilling arm bars. Do you know what I mean? But like there was like certain people you put in a certain position and you'll get 3 arm bars in a round on them.
Yeah.
I ain't got an arm bar for 3 years. But like because of his particular, I put pressure in X position, he's had to defend it this way for his body, for whatever level he is, for whatever's going on at that particular moment, and you take it. And I find that is like, it keeps things so simple. Maybe it's just because I'm not that clever. But you get the point I'm making. It's like, you don't need to overcomplicate things. And again, like you spoke about Pete Irvin earlier, we've both had on the podcast up in, it's Newcastle Fight Academy?
Is, yeah.
Shout out Pete, mate. I hope you're worth this find you. But some of the things he was talking, I don't remember specifics, like sitting in offhand, but just listening to him talk. You know, sometimes you listen to someone and he comes to mind where it's like, this is simple. He's making things simple in a very complex sort of arena, if you like. Do you know what I mean? But it's simple what he's talking about.
Oh, mate, he's a phenomenal instructor.
Great mind. Great mind.
I wish I could be asked to go up north more often.
Newcastle's just too far. It's just like, Newcastle, hey, come a bit closer, Pete.
But every time I've trained with Pete and learned something, like anything that he talks about, he talks in such like detail. And like you say, the concepts are so simple, and he's so good at executing.
And he's someone I look at as like, he's obviously a fighter as well, because they do cross over, but a true martial artist. Do you know what I mean? Like someone you get that kind of like, and also that's another mistake I think people make. Martial artist or fighter, it ain't either or, is it? Like there's crossover. Do you know what I mean? Like some people are more naturally geared one way than the other. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of people we know in more jiu-jitsu, I'd say, more than striking arts, that are not necessarily tough guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not like, do you know what I mean? They didn't like, I didn't come from the streets, I didn't get, you know what I mean? My mum didn't love me, all that stuff. But you get where I'm coming from. Like, it's a different vibe than if you go into like your average boxing club, for example. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
much more like fun and relaxed.
Not level of person, different type of person.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Generally, there's a certain type of person that gravitates more towards striking versus grappling for whatever reason. But yeah, you definitely have much more like a range of personalities, I think, at jiu-jitsu. Whereas the types that are into boxing, because boxing is such a hard style, it's so physical and it's so limited to just like the punching tools.
Definitely a harder sport. Like
I've
had this conversation. I'm not talking about effectiveness. I'm not talking about effectiveness.
Me neither.
In terms of like compared to jiu-jitsu, there's no comparison. Boxing's a much harder sport.
Yeah.
It's a harder environment. It's not so much like, you know, if you go into any jiu-jitsu school, if you turned up at jiu-jitsu now, I know you have done it before, but if you've never done it at the age you are, a grown man, you're welcomed in and you're shown things.
Yeah.
if you go into, and I can't speak for all boxing clubs, if you go into a boxing club like this that wants to turn out champions, they'll look at you, first of all, they're going to go, too old, get out.
Yeah.
Back, whatever, too old. But at the same time, if you came in, all right, cool, warm up on the bag, I'm looking over there. Do you know what I mean? Oh, he's been here about 3 weeks, I'll stick him in some spot. It's that vibe as well, do you know what I mean? It's like, you've got to go through a period of time of sort of getting bashed up a bit. And then, like, if you're still
it's
there,
hazing.
now, come here, because in sparring you dropped your jab. I'm oversimplifying it, and like, not everyone's a blockhead like that, but you get the point. It's like, now let's work on your jab.
Yeah.
Boom, stop dropping your hand. All right,
That's
cool.
it. And just the mentality of, like, they train so much harder, like the sparring, like you look at, say, MMA sparring versus boxing sparring. Boxing sparring is like a full-on fight. Like MMA sparring, you can still spar quite, like, you can spar hard, but most of the punches, like, you're not smashing everything, are you?
No.
Because the little gloves, your training partners, like, it's hard to train that full intensity.
Yeah.
Boxing, it's a war. Head guard on, gloves on, bang, 10 bells of shit out of each other.
And
like,
you have to an extent too, because there's this culture of people sometimes that go, oh, you don't need to spar hard.
That's it, it's a culture.
Come on. You do need to spar hard. Like, I'm not saying you need to punch each other out all the time. Exactly. It's sometimes, and it's when and where, right? But it's like, you do. You can't have the first time someone's throwing full shots at your head when ding, ding, round one. You're in the wrong place, aren't you?
But again, going back to the, like, intention of it, is like, for boxing, it's, are you boxing because you're like, you just want to get a bit fitter and have a go, like a local thing? Or are you there like, I want to fight, I want to be a champion, I want to do da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's got to be much more. I think everyone should experience the feeling of a hard sparring if you do martial arts, but you should do it, like, very rarely.
But you have
unless
to
you want to.
Because, don't give me you've never sparred. Like, you've never done anything.
That's it. You've
it's
got
all
to know.
theory based. It's not. You don't know if it really works. Do you know what I mean? You can say, but if I move here, I'll move his hand there, and I'll move my head, and I'm out of range. Great, cool. Let's try.
That's it.
You might be right, but you might not. And you know what I mean? If you find out that you're not live for the like, who's that guy that fought Manny Pacquiao? Do you know what I'm talking about? He's like a Wing Chun online guy, DK.
Oh, DKU. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I hated that.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? Like it's all theory based, and then afterwards he come out with some excuses and things, didn't he? He posted like images of his like herniated disc.
I think he's got a weird YouTube following, and like he's always done a bit sort of funky stuff. He doesn't do like. He's a Jeet Kune Do guy.
And also, by the way, I think some of the stuff he does is really good, the footwork and whatever.
Yeah,
but the way
he's so quick, he moves so well.
I think he made a huge mistake, like getting in there with Pacquiao to prove a point. Because how do you think I was going to go?
Yeah, of all people.
Yeah.
Like,
and by the way, Pacquiao was like retired at the time. I know he's come back since, but he had a little soft belly. He wasn't
still,
and looked like he was going at a, hadn't even started warming up yet, and like dropped him 6 or 7 times. And it's not a knock on the guy, but it's just like. That's the delusion.
Think it through.
Right? But that's the delusion of it. Because if you watch his videos, his footwork stuff and the speed of hand, there's a lot of good stuff you can take from that.
Yeah.
But after doing that, now people must look at him and go, not for me.
But I think that's, again, the delusion side of a lot of these traditional martial arts, where you don't test them, and then you're like, well, trust me, it works. And then you go against the best guys. It's like, no, you've got to start like that, and you've got to experiment with it as well. Like, that's my big thing with Wing Chun. As I sort of said, is my mother art, as it were. My experiment has been, actually, I wonder what it works in combat sports. Let me have a go.
And there will be some. There will be.
And there is some, and there's definitely things I've been like, I'd leave that.
But that's the whole point of it. That's what you should use it for, right?
But I'm not fighting Manny Pacquiao. I'm fighting some other guy who's having his first kickboxing bout or boxing bout or whatever it is that I'm doing.
But I think it's a true point.
Learn from there and build from there.
Right, build from there. And also, it is like what you just said, like, some of it's great. Use that. Don't get married to the whole art. I'm Wing Chun. Because there's a lot of things that ain't going to work, are they?
Yeah.
And you hear these people as well, don't they, about talking about Jiu Jitsu. Like how, I don't want to be on the floor. I know you don't want to be on the floor. But what if you are?
Sometimes you're on the floor.
What if you are on the floor? That's my point with it. It's like, would you want to not know it? That don't make sense to me. Andrew Tate spoke about that, I think, isn't he? Jiu-Jitsu won't work and stuff. And you can see where they're coming from. But it's just flawed logic to me. Because it's like, I know you said you don't want to be on the floor, great, but now you are. Now what?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Whole thing is this uncontrolled environment, and it's like, you've got to have an answer to everything, and that's what you learn the more that you do it. Is as much as you've got this like one-track mind, like we were talking about a minute ago. Like if you've got this path, you have to have some answer to everything on the way to that.
Yeah.
So maybe you're a boxer and you don't want to be on the ground. So I know I just want to go and knock this guy out. But he's going to try and grab a hold of me. He's going to try and double leg me. He's going to put me on the ground. Submit. If you've got no answer to that, then it's just going to happen right away.
Yeah. Of course it is, yeah. And then once you're there, you're just the...
Yeah, you're like, okay, well, what do I do now? I never thought this was going to happen. Yeah.
It's for lack of a better term, it's a bit of a douchey word, isn't it? But you know what I'm saying? Like, you might as well have never trained before.
Yeah.
You might as well have done CrossFit.
Yeah, what's the point?
Because you ain't got nothing to give me now. But that's a rant for another day. But what's coming up with you now, mate? You got any more bouts coming up?
Not at the moment. Well, I've got to defend that boxing title.
Ooh.
Not for a while though, like May, I think is their next show.
Right.
I do want to do some others. I was hoping to have an MMA fight earlier this year, but it's not looking likely at the moment. So I'm having a shop around. But to be honest, I want to lose some weight. I've been having a good time since my last bout.
How much do you weigh now?
At the moment, I'm about 74 kilos.
Oh, when I said 10 or 15 kilos earlier, I was way off. Whoa. I wonder why you looked at me.
That's very nice. Very nice of you.
Mr. Jones. Yeah. But you still want to fight, obviously. You still got a lot in there.
I think probably not long. Like, I'm very relaxed about the fighting career. For me, I'm not going to be a pro fighter. I'm only doing it for experience. Like, one day I want to coach, and I know I'm also doing my experiment with my Wing Chun. So those are my two motivations.
Nice.
I'm a bit over it. I don't want to cut weight and be healthy and eat well. I'm like, I want to do probably a couple more bouts, and that's probably me. I think this year will probably be my last year of fighting.
Really? Okay.
Maybe. I always say that, and then I get the itch after a while.
Gotcha.
But they're probably the last putting effort in. And then I probably want to do some fun ones. Like, I'll compete, like Jiu Jitsu and stuff, I'll probably do a little bit more.
Do you want to go for the belts in Jiu Jitsu? Do you want to be a black belt one day?
I'm not bothered. I'd like purple is the only one that I'm interested in.
If you cross the line to purple,
you're basically
keep on keeping on.
I know. But purple has always been the goal. I think at that point you're sort of knowledgeable enough to pass stuff on without being like, listen, trust me, I know everything. Like,
hey, I know.
Yeah.
hey, I got this. Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I'd like to do some of the fun ones. I'd love, like car jitsu. I don't know where I've got to go. I want to go at that. I want to do like a bit of all the weird wacky stuff.
How about podcast jitsu? We could just turn that on and go, welcome to Squeeze.
Let's have a go. Like all them fun ones on my podcast I've got coming up. I went and I trained Boo Hurt, which is the armoured MMA, if you've seen that.
Oh, what, like knights in shining armour?
Yeah.
They get sword and what?
Full on, they full on armour up, and they've got different types.
Hey. Okay.
But the guy that I've got coming on mine, he did the full contact, like in a cage. It's MMA, but you're wearing armour and you got a little.
I'd be game for a bit. That sounds fun.
It looks so much fun.
Well, do you know what I had on once? I had a guy who done the fight on ice hockey. You seen that one?
I've seen them
on ice.
Yeah.
You know, that's
ice hockey fights.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's is it a martial art? I don't know, but I'd have a go.
It's a fight. I know it's a fight. It was like he showed me some of the pictures after. There was blood everywhere. You know what I mean? There's more blood than that in an MMA fight, and it was quick. I believe it was like, I might be wrong on this, but it was like a minute and a half rounds or something crazy. I think it was 2 1.5 minute rounds. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it was like a proper go. You ain't got time to strategize really. Have you hold the collar and bang away? I think he fought an actual NFL. I think they called him Forces. I think that is the name. They're like, I don't know. I'm not a big ice hockey fan. But it's cool. But with the podcast, mate, what's going on with the podcast now?
I'm putting some more effort back into it. I think I've been pretty lax. I mean, I like to specialise in individual martial arts on it. Like, I'm a bit choosy. I'm doing probably one a month at the moment, but yeah, I'm just loving it. I enjoy talking to the people I'm talking to.
When you say a bit choosy, would you have the geezer that comes and goes, I'm a street fighter?
I'll have a street fighter.
Is that allowed?
Let's see. I'll ask you some questions about it.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. I think if you've got someone interesting and you can talk about the art, I want to hear and I want to learn and I want to have a go doing them. Like we're talking about visiting.
We've got to get a training session in. We haven't trained properly, have we?
Definitely.
We've got to get in. I'll come down. We'll do it in the garage or wherever.
Yeah.
You come down. We'll figure out a time and maybe we'll film it as well. Maybe we'll put.
I don't know if we can film it.
We'll have podcast beef. We'll have podcast. We'll cut it right at the moment, like like Rocky 3 when they're both back to land. We'll cut it there and let people make their own mind up. Tom would have bashed you. No, Ollie would have choked him. Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah. Comment below. Do you know what I mean?
But, unbelievable camera cut off at that bad time. Oh, crazy.
Do you know what I mean? If only they knew, right? But mate, listen, this is always fun to talk to you. I'm sure we'll get many more over the years.
Yeah,
we'll get some training in, as I said. But before we finish, we've done this before.
I'm ready. Practicing.
Which football team you support?
That one. No, I'm still
Chelsea.
not
very
game.
good. Thank you for coming, top man, my
sure,
man. As you know, mate, we always finish with a fist up like this. Squeeze the neck.
Boom!